So I want to preface this. I'm gonna let this trio play. I'm going to be heavily biased for this video for the anniversary and Jason because I was at the Montreal event myself. Yay! I met a lot of cool people. I met a lot of cool streamers. I met the devs, very, very nice blokes. One of them is very funny, and I'm not gonna list names, but when a dev goes, man, I'm kind of bored. Does anyone want to go smoke a joint? It's kind of peak. Not listing names on that end, but honestly, beautiful. Anyway, of course, Jason's to the game this week. Anniversary happened. Let's talk about it, my opinions. So, again, I was at the event, so let me talk about the event itself. These murals, one, very cool looking. However, in person, the color has already faded a little bit. So, I don't know about that one. There's also a festival that was going on that street. I don't know how else to talk about that one, but there was. There's a lot of exclusive merch. I bought most of it. It's actually really, really good quality, so I'm not gonna complain about that. I got one of these. There's this code for DBD 10 birthday if you want 10 million blood points. This expires on July 16th, so you have a long time to get it, especially with this video. There's going to be a campfire tour while people go around, while the devs go around the entire city, and there's a new survivor. There's a new survivor. Let me talk about the event itself for a moment, and this will probably fade into gameplay while I rant, so just fine. The event itself was good. I'm gonna say that for a first time, possibly only time event, it was a really, really good event, and I quite enjoyed it. There are a few things I would change, which I'll get to, but overall the event was good. There were 2 floors, a outside area, and then the actual like panel talking area. I don't know how to say the stage. Going in, you're not allowed back. There were actual guards, by the way. This is from someone who went to TwitchCon Las Vegas in 2024, so trust me, much better security. There's actually like security around the place that you can see, and no incidents happened that I'm aware of, so it was pretty good. You immediately had to go in and sign in your backpack to the sign if you brought one. They hold it, they give you a key, they tell you not to lose it, they encourage you to take a picture of it. All things considered, pretty good. They held it off to the side for you. Then you check in. The badges that they had up there though were for your like level. So there was a trickster and clown one that were yellow colored, and those were the basic colors that most people had for the event. That's like you had a ticket and you got in. Blue was like, I think just you're working there. Purple was dev / lower VIPs, and then red was like higher VIPs, and that was some of the confusion. So in my group that we went to with, there was a few iridescent tier creators who were quote-unquote VIPs, but they didn't have any events assigned to them like Aughts, Lilith Omen, or Spooky Loops had. So when they tried going into the VIP entrance, they got told no, which they really weren't informed of until I think last minute, and not all of them even got the email. So that was a time. So small issue there, which also reminds me, before we entered the event, this is more of an issue with it just being Montreal. This is something that, for those that don't know, Montreal, Canada is a place that was founded by the French, and they are more European than North American. The default language there is French, just flat out. They have politics. There is a political structure in place to make it a more French-centric area. This is the first time I have traveled to 80% of the European continent, including France. I have been to Australia. I have been to Mexico. I have been to the Caribbean Sea. I have been to all 50 states in America, which doesn't really matter for my next point. But this is the first time ever when looking at a tourist, the default language that they go to is French. They don't default to English. Every other place I've ever been to is defaulted to English. And this wouldn't be a problem because, like, you know, embrace your culture, I get it. You're running a con that isn't French specific. It's Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight is a worldwide game. So when we have a security guard tell some people that there's going to be the early access premium ticket line, And then they instead decide, no, it's all one line instead. And so they made us all merge back into the same line. And the security guard is only speaking French while waving his hands around. It's very confusing. Inside the con, the behavior employees all defaulted to English. But all the people who were not a part of behavior, including the restaurants around outside, all spoke French. And this is really just a problem as someone who's like, who wants them to do this event again. I really hope they choose Toronto, because I'm pretty sure they have an office there, and Toronto is right across from New York, so they default to English. And it was the only thing all day that made me frustrated. But inside the con itself, once you get your badge, you go in. There's some like things you can take pictures at. There was a place to play the first original prototype of Dead by Daylight, which I'm shocked they still have that version ready to play, which was pretty cool. They had some indie games that they were publishing. They announced that during the broadcast. I probably won't cover that today because it's not DBD specific, but I'll mention it again. That you could try out and buy when you get home if you want to. They had a place to play the DBD board game, the merch store, which you got a free t-shirt for going in, a claw machine for little Maurice plush. I'll try finding a photo and putting it up if I need to, or someone did, I'm sure. Come on. Yeah, here it is. Shout out to this guy. It's cute. The back corner of the first floor had nothing besides a long hallway that looked like the Resident Evil laser room from Resident Evil 4. The last thing about the first floor that I'll mention is they also have the signing area down there, which I will also complain about in a moment. There is a fog machine that was going 24/7 on their first floor. And I get it because it's Dead by Daylight, the fog, haha. They had several fog machines, it wasn't just one, and they went all day non-stop. By like 3 hours into the con, the merch store was sold out, and you could not see because there was so much fog everywhere. And it made me really concerned because I'm like, isn't this a fire hazard? Like, it's harder to see smoke when you do that. It looks like smoke, if I'm being honest. And then, if you have asthma, it's hard to breathe. So, concern, right? And then the other complaint for the signing booths, this is something I will attribute to TwitchCon. In TwitchCon, when you have signings for like a streamer or somebody, the line eventually gets blocked off for when the time is up, and then they finish that line. Like, the line gets finished. For the Dead by Daylight one, the line kept letting people in until the time was up, and then they just left. For the streamers, it's kind of whatever. Like, if Otts, like for the Otts had, it's Otts, so he had the most people who wanted his signature. I don't think anyone's gonna be offended by that because it's Otts Darva. He was one of the first people, so a lot of people lined up for him, and a lot of people didn't get a signature from that because the line was too long. It was literally hours. And when the time was up, because it was only an hour of time or so, they made him get up and leave so the next people can take the spot instead of finishing out the line. Which, for the devs, like for the streamers, I understand because they're on a time crunch for the next people and they can get other people in the con. And for the devs, I get it because they have stuff to go do. Like, they had panels to run and people to meet and stuff to set up for, like, and small rehearsals, right? The problem is that as a person, it sucks when you're waiting in the line for like 2 hours or whatever to get a signature from specific devs, and then they leave. I was able to meet them later, but for next con, I would like it to be more like TwitchCon, where they block off the line and then they finish out the line. Small thing. Second floor had a game expo, as well as an art room. The art room was really cool. They even had a wall with a bunch of fan art. One of my friends, a few of my friends were on that back wall, actually, which is really fun to look at. They had a little, the FNAF thing that they made last year to promote the FNAF thing, like the little, I'm forgetting what it's called, diorama, I think, was back there, and they had an art station to draw, as well as some, like, crocheted dolls of killers in a glass case. That looks really cool. As well as a memorial for puppers, which was really, really cute. And I'm glad that they include him in some way. I don't know which dev pushed for him for that to be there, or if it was something that they all agreed on or whatever, but I looked at it, I was like, oh, And then for the Game Expo room, which is where you could play with some creators if you were able to sign up for it, as well as play Dead by Daylight on those computers, which, you know, default DPI, default controls, no reshade. Not my type of tea, so I didn't do it. But there were 2 TVs to watch people play it, which was kind of entertaining to do at the very least. I think that's it for the second floor. As for there was also drinks inside of that building were free. Food wasn't, but they let you get free drinks. They even had non-alcoholic beer, which was interesting. So props to Behavior for paying for that. I'm sure everyone appreciated it. Outside, you had a food truck area. It's food. It was pretty good. I had one of the burgers, liked it. Then you had a little, like, more park-ish area in the back, which had the DJ, which showed up at the very end. I didn't stick around long for that. And then an escape room, which I wasn't able to do because the line was, I think at some point it reached a 7-hour-long line. So I'm not waiting for that. And then you had the actual panel area, which had a lot of seats, a VIP section that they let you sit in until the actual anniversary broadcast, which was appreciated because my entire group basically took it over. And that was it. That's the event. Again, the only complaints are everyone defaulted to French, the signing line could have been done better, and the fog machines. And then something a little bit more personal is that for the art section, I would have really appreciated if they flew out known Dead by Daylight curators who did art, or at least asked them if they would be willing to come in and sell stuff. Because while official DVD merch is cool, there's a lot of people who make stuff on Etsy that is just as cool. And TwitchCon has something called the Artist Alley, and I wish if they do this again next time, I would love if they had an Artist Alley. Even if people need to pay to sell it, I would still appreciate it if it was there, because it would just be cool. You know what, I want to rant a little bit. I really enjoyed my time in Montreal. It was not an expensive trip, which was nice. There's a lot of shopping to do. They had a festival going on. There's some stuff to do in the city, but it's not like a super busy, popular tourist city to my understanding. So there's not like that much, but it's easy to get around. It was pretty clean. It was typical city stuff. So it had, you know, good transportation, good buses, no complaints there. And I really do hope they do the events again. Also, I got to kiss my girlfriend, so not gonna complain. I think I'm going to use a mix of the official DBD Twitter and Flay's Twitter, so shout out to both for that. First of all, they revealed immediately the Dead by Daylight movie is getting made by Blumhouse, and is being directed by Thordor Paulson, who is known for The Damned, the Valhalla Murders, and Brothers, which I heard he's pretty good, so no complaints there. I unironically, there was another guy that they picked, who I'm forgetting, but it's like the director or producer of Crawl, which I unironically like, because I went in with such low expectations. I liked the movie, so I'm not gonna complain. Next up is the new Survivor, named Shane. He is a Native American. I wanted to try Indonesian. I can't say that word, I'm sorry. But he's pretty cool. I'm excited for him to come to the game so we can see his full in-game model. And he's voiced by Dallas Goldtooth. There's been some drama on Twitter about another minority, and I feel like if you have that opinion, you should leave. Just leave. I'm also a minority. I'm trans. You should leave. You're not welcome here. If you wanted someone else just for personal preference, that's fine. I know a few people wanted I forget his name, but Michaela's friend from the Tomes, or Yamako's grandfather, who was, or Kazan's, the Oni's father, who was also in the Tomes recently, as well as that other lady riding Maurice around. I'm forgetting their names. Which, if you want those three for those reasons, that's fine. But if you just hate this guy because it's a Native American, shut up. They showed a little more closer look at Chorus of Sin and officially announced it will release on August 25th, which was really cool. Casting of Frank Stone is getting an official chapter. Super big hype, which I will mention. It is very different vibe being in the crowd than going on Twitter afterwards and seeing people complain or whatever. That crowd enjoyed everything. It was super exciting to be there. Eric Pope is very funny. So I really want to, again, I am biased for everything that I'm talking about. New map called The Mall, which is going to be inspired by Dwight's lore. It's very Backrooms SCP-esque, so I'm very excited for this to come to the game. And they said that they're basing it off of outdoor map building instead of indoor map building, which makes me exciting because like I hate playing indoor maps. So if they actually do this well, I'm gonna be very, very happy. The event got talked about for a little bit. It's gonna be the Black Banquet with some skins for some people. There's gonna be like survivors are trying to eat food and the killers are trying to poison it. Next week I'll make a video covering the event on if it's good or not, but this week, all about the anniversary, baby. There'll be some skins. I'll cover them when they're out. Just like, I'm just gonna mention some collabs because a lot of the collabs are like years out, which I find interesting to do, but whatever. They announced a Hunter skin. This is one times I audibly made noise instead of just clapping, and then I went, damn, it's fucking ugly. But if you like Iron Maiden, it's for you. I'm gonna buy it because it's Huntress. They showed 2 skins for Tori as well as the Wraith for next Rift, which would look absolutely beautiful. I'm excited for whatever the characters get stuff, as well as the fan-made Fong skin and Knight. One thing I want to mention, on the stream, you could hear the crowd. ZM Pixie came in her seat when this was shown off. It was much, much louder being behind her. They showed Ice 9 Kills. This is one of 2 controversies from the event because Ice 9 Kills is very pro-generative AI. I'm pretty sure their music video was made with it, although I think they then confirmed afterwards that it wasn't. It just looks like a horrendously made video. What are you gonna do about that? They announced Glenn and Negan for Walking Dead. Negan wasn't shown because his model's not done, but Glenn will release at some point. 2 skins for Silent Hill. I'm just gonna call her the Silent Hill F character. The Silent Hill F character is releasing next week, I think, with the anniversary or sometime next month, while the Spirit Nurse skin, the Silent Hill Nurse, is releasing sometime next year. A lot of people are saying that that is to coincide with the next Silent Hill game or remake. I think it's a remake of the first game, so that makes more sense if you think about it that way and why it's gonna release later. I'm sure the skin is also just not done. They also announced a Scooby-Doo collection. Please understand that being in the crowd was very funny and very, very exciting when they announced it. Everyone lost their minds. There's also going to be a Diablo 4. They only showed a skin for Artist. I'm kind of mixed on this because I don't really care about Diablo, and I'm kind of upset that it's another set skin for Artist. But it still looks really, really cool, so I can't complain too much. The Scooby-Doo skin so far is for Dwight, and they confirmed it's Survivor only, by the way. Oh, actually, I'll skip ahead a little bit. They also announced Terrifier, where the art actor came on stage and like in full getup and showed off, which is really, really cool. Which is the November slot. I really want to give prompts. I don't really care about Terrifier. I don't care. There is currently controversy about Terrifier being added because the director is a fucking weirdo in terms of, like, towards women just in general, and saying horror isn't political, which if you believe that, you can just be wrong because it is. So he's just kind of a weird guy, and the movies themselves are kind of sexist, misogynistic, like old slasher films when it comes to women, which in the 80s or 90s was more like the standard. And when you make a movie in 2024, 2025, it's a lot weirder to keep doing that. So rightfully, people are a bit skeptical. Some people won't be buying it. I'm pretty sure I'll get it for free, so I'm kind of just whatever. I don't care about licenses that much in the first place. So it's kind of just, eh. This is what's exciting. There are 2 new game modes coming to the game this year. One of them is a 1v1 mode, which is very exciting. They even said directly that this came from the comp scene. So I'm very excited for that to come out. I think it's going to be a best of 3 with like more like tennis where it's like 1, 2, and then set point or match point. and then you win. So I don't know if it's gonna be like randomized killers or you each choose a killer and then a tiebreaker or something, but I'm really excited for this to come to the game. I hope it comes sooner rather than later. Very exciting. Other one is a zombie mode, which was really funny because they kept panning to Horsford during this. So, killer makes zombies, survivors want to cure the zombies. That's it. Seems neat. I'm excited for when it actually gets done. This is early prototype, so it's kind of just eh. There is going to be another graphical overhaul for the game, which is going to make everything look much more realistic. I have mixed feelings about it. I think it's going to be good for the game. I think to do any of this, they have to recode the entire game. However, I also think this will result in Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One getting drop support. Whether they do that or not, I don't know, but I'm going to assume that they are. Now let me tell you, the most exciting thing is the dynamic weather coming to the game. I don't think you understand the atmosphere in the crowd when they showed it going from normal to dynamic weather. I am pulling up the image right, like the crowd right now. It is much louder in person. Again, it's going to be a completely full, ignore me moving it on screen, I apologize. It's going to be a completely full overhaul about how the game looks, feels. The weather is going to change how perks and tracking and sound works in game. The hitboxes are going to change. It's going to look absolutely beautiful. And I know some people are concerned about like the competitive atmosphere about the game where it's like, oh, you're going to have, or if you're main spirit, it's going to be hard to like tell where anything is, what's happening, which I get. Those are valid concerns. However, I really want everyone to give this a shot, because when you think about it, this is for the casual mode. Normal 1v4. They are making a competitive 1v1 mode at the same time. So there is a chance that they will make a competitive version of DBD where there is no dynamic weather for people to queue up. Or they're going to make it to where it's like a set kind of weather. And I really want everyone here to give it a chance. No matter what, please give the dynamic weather a chance. It is a year out before it comes to the game, and I think it will turn out a lot better than people want to give it credit for, especially because they have said that they want us as a community to work with them on designing it on what we like and don't like. So again, please give it a chance. I personally am looking really forward to it. Except one more thing. They announced at the very end that they were going to bring modding to the game at some point. I don't know when, but my god, am I excited for that. Modding is something that makes a game live forever. It will let people make their own killers. It will make people make their own skins. It will make people make their own game modes, their own maps. And that is something that's beautiful. Now, sometimes behavior might like your mod so much, they want to release it as official content. And I think that is absolutely beautiful. There is going to be some stipulations, like you can't make characters naked, you can't use licensed stuff probably, but I still think it's going to be really cool, and I hope everyone gives it a shot when it's out. I am looking forward to the next year DVD a lot. And that's it for the anniversary event. Now we can move on to today, or yesterday, because Jason came out, which is also really cool. There's been some leaks happening about like skins or whatever, about like blood, the banquet and whatnot. I won't really be covering those because it's kind of whatever. Huntress Twins and Dredge got stuff, and then I think it's Tay, Nia, and Yui are getting stuff for Mask, and then there's the skins that were already shown on the event for Trapper, Doctor, and Legion, and then Kate, Claudette, and Dwight. And it's like, it's cool. I don't have any complaints. I hope the event is fun. I'll find out next week when it's out. Let's talk Jason, shall we? Jason came to the game recently, today, on June 16th, which, with 3 new perks, which I barely used. I got 8 depth and then used them ever again. A visual change to Doctor, which is very much nice. It's very cool. It fixed all visual issues that Doctor had. It's just screams now, which is something that is completely different to him, that they just need to add a toggle for. I don't want to listen to screams anyway, and I get overstimmed when playing Doctor because it just happens so much. So I really appreciate if they added a toggle to mute screams. It changes nothing for gameplay unless you want it to. So I really hope they do that. But Jason himself, okay? The perks, whatever. Doctor, awesome. The new Survivor releasing a week later to talk about separately, neat. I really hope they change that elusive perk. Jason is awesome. They took him from the movies and popped him into the game, and it turned out perfectly. I have no complaints ever about him. His power is really fun. A lot of the gameplay in the Mac you'll see is like slugging stuff, because I don't hook ever. I started hooking towards the end, and he's still pretty alright at that too. He's fun. I genuinely have no complaints. It's satisfying to hit spheres because the sound design for them is just really good. Compared to Artis, who doesn't have a sound for hitting long-range hits, which suck, Jason does. And that just makes him really fun to play. He's fun to go against because it's like he gets actively punished for missing, and he has to go out of his way to reload, which gives you a little reprieve. And if you path properly, you can make him take ages to reload instead of it being instant, which is kind of a fun back and forth. It's a good resource management for both sides, especially on the Jason end. He has good mobility, he has good tracking that survivors can counter completely by crouching if they're smart, so you still want to bring aura perks so you know relatively where people are, and then if they mess up the crouching, you get free information. His power has a huge skill ceiling, which is important, but it's not so hard that new players can't pick him up. I have no complaints about him. He's just a good killer. He'll be probably about B+ for right now. As people learn how to go against him and how to play him, that's obviously subject to change. But I see him being, no matter what, in the B tier area, and if you get good at him, I think he can be A-. I will say as well, his add-ons are really well made, but there are a lot of people saying that he has power crept killers like Springtrap, Deathslinger, and Huntress. No, he has not. This is something that people need to consider. You can, quote-unquote, a lot of people when they say power creep, they just mean better consistency. Huntress is a killer who's very much a do-it-all type killer. It is easier as Jason and Springtrap to 2k consistently compared to Huntress. Huntress, while easy, gets punished a lot from survivor perks and how the game functions in 2026 compared to newer killers, and because of that, she struggles a little bit. So you have to get good, and if you're not good, you're going to be bad. So while Huntress is a B-, same as Springtrap, she requires more effort to be said B-, but she is better at snowballing and proxying than Afton or Jason are. Afton is B- because he's consistent, has good map mobility and alright stealth, especially with the pay to win glitch tap skin, and can counter flashlight stays with the grabs. He also can go 4.6 by throwing down the axe, has better add-on variety than Huntress, also has a really high skill ceiling with Huntress. Huntress also has a high skilling, to be fair, but like it's hard to get good at killers. So there's a lot to Springtrap. Jason does not power creep them. Jason, while having good mobility, has a different type of mobility than Springtrap, which can punish survivors if used improperly. And it's up to behavior to make Springtrap's power or the doors for survivors to use more accurately with the survivors, because no one uses them right now, which is a problem. Jason also has a lot of mini-mories in his kit that the other two don't have, and while they're cool, sometimes it is better to hook people for their perks. And right now, if someone's on death hook, you have to sit there and wait for them to fall off the wall if you pin them so you can hook them. And then it's like, well shit, I didn't get them on either of my first two pain reses, and now there's a pain res right there, and I would really like to use their pain res stack. So sometimes that happens, so there's some downsides. Jason also has a really high skill cap, which I saved this part for the end. All three of these killers have a different projectile to use. Afton's axe is more heft, so it has a sharper angle than the other two, which makes it easier to hit over walls quickly. Huntress has a longer arc, a lighter one compared to Springtrap, so you can hit people faster and charge it up and hit over objects, but you can't like literally look up at the sky and nail someone right next to you. But you can with orbitals. Jason also has orbitals, but they're a set distance because there is no charging. And his projectile is very quick and very skinny, But he also has to reload at piles, while Afton reloads automatically, and Huntress has 7 in the bucket, so you gotta just reload at lockers in comparison. That's kind of those are the main differences. Deathslinger is closer to Jason in my opinion, and especially in terms of like skill and what you can and can't hit through. But even then, Deathslinger is still a really strong 1v1 killer who, while it doesn't have mobility, can reload on the fly, can chain people into rocks and apply Deep Wound to counter things like Dead Hard, can rope people into him to activate Surge closer to gens by bringing a survivor towards him from far away. His power is an M1, which activates perks in the first place. So again, I really want to encourage people for when a new killer comes out, don't just say power crept, don't just say it's blah blah blah. There's a lot of niche details of killers that make them different from one another and have reasons to play them over other killers. Now, in terms of pure strength, Jason is currently better than Huntress and Afton. I would say between the 3 of them, including Deathslinger, I think Deathslinger is tied with Jason at B+, and then, of course, Deathslinger's add-on dependent and Jason isn't, followed by Huntress, followed by Afton. They're all about B tier, and I think that's A-okay. Otherwise, there's nothing else to talk about this update. This video will probably go out on Friday. I have to go to work tomorrow, which I'm not happy about. I wish this was my full-time thing. And you can help that. Thanks for watching the full video. I'll see you in the next one, which will either probably be a deadlock video after this one, and then probably gonna be a deadlock video, and then we'll go back to Dead by Daylight with the event. Have a good one.